afford to pay and still buy their textbooks, because the parents had to buy the textbooks for their children while their white counterparts were getting them free. So they had many grievances, and they decided when Afrikaans was introduced, this is enough. If the parents are not doing anything, we are taking this ourselves. So they wrote down all their grievances. They were too much. It was supposed to be a peaceful march. Some were holding placards, some were holding hands. They were singing. They were supposed to meet in front of those two high schools to collect the students there and move on to the stadium that you saw on the other side. But they didn't get over there because the police were following them. And then when they were gathered in front of those two high schools, they were now surrounded. So as they were standing and singing there, there's quite different versions to the story. But they believe that it started with a dog. What happened? The police now released the dogs to the students, and the students started stoning the dog. Well, when the dog was stoned by the students, that's when the police opened fire. And the students felt, oh, they can't kill us, we're only kids. Maybe it's not real bullets, but when they saw some of them bleeding, lying down bleeding, they knew the police meant business. So they ran and hid. When the fire ceased, then they came back and helped those that were injured. Amongst those, there was that 13-year-old child, Hector Peterson, as you can see on the photo. So they tried to rush her to the clinic on the other side, but he was certified dead. So the word came back to the students that a child has been killed. The students went on a rampage. They were now fighting the police. They were taking the dustbin lids and the stones, throwing to the police and ducking the bullets with the dustbin lids. And the police tried to stop this by going to schools, confiscating the registers, trying to arrest students at home. But when the word also came out, the students went into hiding, and some they left the country, they went into exile. That continued not only in Soweto but right through the country. There was solidarity with Soweto. Students at Wits University and other areas, they also now march against what the police were doing to the students of Soweto. So during that year there was a state of emergency. You would have patrolling cars, big army trucks patrolling the townships, trying to stop the riots. But it continued right through the year. So many students, as I said, went into exile and to be trained as soldiers so they can come back and fight for their country. So that young boy that is carrying Hector Peterson Museum, because he was also, they saw his photo. He was not on the march, as you can see, he was not wearing a uniform. But he was passing by and he saw this child, he was trying to help. But because he was involved by trying to help that child, he was wanted by the police. So he also went into hiding and he left the country, went into exile. So when the exiles started coming back in the 90s, that boy never came back. So there is a pillar in his memory there, in memory of Museum, and there are words that are written by his mother. So when the exiles returned, because now we thought, okay, there's going to be war, but fortunately we never had a war in our country. We settled our differences on the table, and then we elected a new government under Nelson Mandela. So now this was erected 2 years before the new government, and then later in 2000 they decided to build this whole park here, and so that they remember those students. And inside we have the photographs and the story of what happened in Soweto in 1976. And the water that you see between, like education, it stands for education, saying education has to flow freely. No child in South Africa will be deprived of his right to education again. And these pillars that you see are in the memory of those students that we were born. And the open spaces are in the memory of the students that disappeared. We don't know what happened to them because they were never found. Okay.